kept his routine like a promise. Every morning at 7, rain or shine, George walked down to the river with a small paper bag in his hand and a travel mug of coffee. The paper bag was always folded the same way. Bakery crease at the top, a little grease circle on one side where a muffin had pressed against the paper. He never opened it on the walk. He never hurried. He moved with the patient, quiet cadence of someone who has learned how to keep a steady heart when everything else around him is unpredictable. The bench by the Hudson had a sentimental name nobody used aloud: Bench 14. To commuters, it was a landmark, the place you passed when you were late, the place where the city smelled like toasted bagels and wet concrete at dawn. To George, it was a shrine. He would place the bag beside him, set the coffee on the bench, and watch the water as the sun rose slow and orange over the skyline. People watched him watch the river, the way people watch a small, beautiful ritual they don't want to interrupt. Ella first noticed him on a day when the sky had that thin, early winter light. She had moved to the neighborhood 6 months earlier, carrying a box of soft, messy grief. A divorce that lacerated plans, a job that evaporated, the kind of loneliness that lives in your pockets. She started running to outrun it, which is how she began to time her mornings by George's silhouette. There was comfort in routine. She liked that someone else in the city kept a ritual as sacred as hers. One grey morning, she slowed to a walk and edged closer than usual. George sat with his shoulders rounded, a wool cap on his head, and the paper bag tight in his lap. The bench between them held a small, neat world. 2 coffee cups, a folded newspaper, a pigeon who'd perfected the art of looking dignified. Ella asked the question that had been hanging between her and the bench for weeks. "What's in the bag?" she said. George looked up like someone who had been waiting to be asked, and laughed a laugh that made lines at the edges of his eyes. "Blueberry muffins," he said. "My wife used to bake them on Sundays." "Oh," Ella said, surprised by how simple the answer felt. "Do you eat them here?" He shrugged. "Not really." "I bring one for the sunrise." She said the light looked different from the river, said it made everything honest. She sat down because the minute she opened her mouth, she realized she didn't want to run anymore. The city made it easy to be close without being seen. That morning, it felt good to be seen. They began to fill the mornings with small things. On windy days, they traded coffee brands and told stories about childhood winters, about sleds and snowball fights, and the color of hot chocolate in small paper cups. On quiet mornings, they sat in silence and let the river tell them its slow, patient stories. Boats that creaked, gulls that complained, the far-off horns like letters written across water. For George, the paper bag never changed. He never opened it in her presence. It was a private piece of the day he saved for some unseen altar.